So today we just wanted to talk a little bit about our pre-trip and post-trip activities. So, I mean, of course, pre-trip we dump all the tanks and all that sort of stuff. But there's a whole lot of stuff that I do inside, and there's a whole lot of stuff Brent does outside, like the day before. So one of the things I do is put away all the dishes in their respective places. And then anything that's on the counter, hang on, all the things that are on the counters, like the teapot and the paper towel and that sort of stuff. I'll show you that in a minute. So all this stuff goes into the cupboard down below. This gets flattened. The covers go on the sink. So the counter is completely empty of stuff. And this goes where the covers for the sink goes. Okay, so the counter is totally cleared off. So back here we have the toaster and all our flippers and stuff like that kind of live up there. They go down into the cupboard on the bottom shelf. And there's a spot down there also for the toaster. So the toaster and that go there. And the kettle has its spot in the cupboard as well. And we'll just put that over there for a minute. And then we need to make sure that this is closed. We also have a bunch of knives. There's about 6 knives that live up here while we're stationary. They're the ones we use the most often. They come down and go into the drawer. I don't trust the magnet to keep it in its spot, especially when it's riding around in this earthquake mobile. So a couple other things. I'm just going to move the camera and put it onto the monopod, and I'll talk about those things that we tuck away and that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a couple more things that we put away, tidy up. Basically I call it battening down the hatches. So yeah, so this counter, it gets totally cleared off. Teapot goes down in the drawer under the stove. We have all of our stuff getting all charged up before we leave, and the bread basket and paper towel holder and my scale go in their spaces. All the plates and stuff are in a little shelf. I do tend to put a tea towel just over top of this, just because I do worry that they are going to slide forward and potentially hit the glass, but doesn't seem to be an issue, so I could probably relax on that one. So the other things that happen in the main part of the house, or main part of our trailer, is any pictures that have glass. That one, the glass broke and we didn't replace it. This one has glass. Already got some of the Christmas decorations out because it is November. So all the things that we have set out, like this little lantern and my Sheltie picture and it's Brent's advent calendar and our wedding picture and stuff like that, they all have their own special little spot that I tuck them away in drawers and in the cupboards and that sort of thing. So, moving on. Once I get sort of all the things that are going to potentially crash, I move the dog blanket. So we have Wrigley's blanket on the couch, and I like to sit on my blanket because it's warm and cozy. So those things, I don't leave them on the couches and on the chairs because they do fall off during travel, and when you open the slide, if they have fallen off, they tend to get caught in the slide. So I did discover that one. So I kind of roll them up and tuck them into a corner inside the slide, sort of beside the chairs or whatever. And then we have this little plant on the table. And yes, more Christmas decorations. I get a little excited at Christmas time. So that plant I put into this basket underneath the table. So I put the garbage can and all the things that are potentially going to crash and burn during our trip, they go underneath there. We have a few more pictures. So this one and our family, this has all of our birthdays on it. It comes down and I tuck it away, and they'll have their own special place. So the computer, which Brent likes to keep out here, he's watching football and working on the computer at the same time. Hello, Wrigley. Hello, puppy dog. Yes, you're such a good girl. Are you and Dad keeping Dad's chair warm? Anyways, I digress. So the ottoman, it comes and it fits over here. So it goes in this spot just at the end of the island. That way, if the fridge happens to open up during travel, then we don't have to worry about everything crashing onto the floor. We just have to deal with it when we do open the fridge. So we've had a few things sort of tumble out of the fridge when we stop. Other things, so the computer that's sitting on the ottoman goes onto our bed, and the TV goes up onto our bed as well. So those things, they just kind of go up. We wrap them up in the quilt, and then when the slide comes in, there's really nowhere that they're going to fall, and they pretty much stay put. So the other things that are kind of crucial to remember is this strap. Make sure that otherwise the sliding door is just going to go backwards and forwards. So this strap has to be done up, which first time I you use the bathroom after you land. It's like, doggone it, stupid door. Other thing is this has to go down, and we remove this shower head because it's not the original shower head and it's quite heavy. It could hit the glass, so we do want to avoid that. Let me put that back. That's what I do to batten down the hatches. There's a mat in front of the kitchen sink that I tend to pick up because otherwise it's going to be in the way of the slide, because this slide pulls right into the counter, to the island. I have in fact climbed over the island to get to the other side. And then this slide on this side, the table comes pretty close to the island. So everything is pretty tucked in here and you can't really walk around. Wrigley's food dish stays where it is at the end of the island. Wrigley, you're not finished your food. No, you're not finished your food. Yeah, so that's, basically just anything that's going to crash, we put away. And that's my business on the inside. Brent will get back to you with what goes on the exterior. He does things like greasing and torquing and I don't know, whatever he does. So, we'll get back to you on that. So, it was a little bit of a colder day, but yeah, we wanted to get this done. So I did inside yesterday of what I do when we're packing up to leave on a trip, or even when we are
before pre-trip and post-trip.
So,
That way.
what do you do, Brett, when you're outside playing with your tools and stuff?
Well, basically, before every trip, I check the torque on the lug nuts. You might want to make sure what your specifications are supposed to be. Usually 110 to 130 psi for the lug nuts. And also, most trailers, the lighter ones, have six lug. The heavier trailers will have an 8 and possibly even a 10 lug wheel. There is a pattern for doing that, so you start at 1, go across, then back and across, then back and across. That way it's evenly torqued all the way around. I do that before every trip, and sometimes when I get an inkling I'll do it just after a trip. Another thing that you always should do, post-trip and pre-trip, check your PSI. Check the air pressure.
So, Brent, when we're on trips, since like when we went to Salmon Arm and then we sat for a few days, did you check the torque on the tires again?
Yes. For every trip I do the torque. Every trip I do the air pressure. You should also check your tire wear. Make sure it's tracking properly. If there's any issues, you'll catch it before there is a big issue.
Do you want me to move that Christmas ball off your shoulder?
No, that's fine. I'm okay. But you should always check your tire pressure, tread wear, do your lug nuts. And another thing that I always do, I only do this probably once every 6 weeks, depending on how many trips we do. Probably every second or third trip, I grease the suspension. There are Zerk fittings just on the inside here. If you can come around here, I'll show you. It's just on the inside, right here, the suspension. There's a Zerk fitting on the inside, and there's one on each bolt for the front, the rear suspension and the front suspension. Very important you do that. You don't want to have one of those get too heated up and burn out or blow up or have a meltdown while you're on the road. That would be catastrophic or could be catastrophic.
Okay. So in addition to Brent crawling under the trailer, he goes on top of the trailer as well to make sure that there's nothing on top of the slides that might get stuck or cause grief with the gears or whatever's up there. Apparently, I don't know. So, Brent, take it away.
Yeah, well, I do go up before every trip. It's something everybody should do. Or have somebody go up there for you just to make sure that there's nothing blocking the slides, whether it be a branch that may have fallen onto one of the top of the slides or all the pine needles or whatever it may be. You just need to clear it off with a broom or whatever. I like to go up once every couple months and lift up these seals and blow those out with my compressor as well, just to make sure there's no needles that get stuck. Once a slide goes in, if there's needles in there or a twig or something, it can fall down the sides and cause grief with the motors of the slides.
Okay.
Whether it's a Schwintech or the standard slide, that the larger slides that you have.
The other thing that, if Brent doesn't clear off all the stuff off the slides, is it comes in, it's all over the floor inside. When you put the slides back out when you land, you end up with a big mess inside. So that's another issue from my end. Well, we are back at base camp today, and it's just been a day of sort of getting things sorted, and I mean, after going away for a bit, just kind of reorganize stuff and that sort of thing. So one of the things that needs to be done on my list today is to clean up the truck. I did the trailer last night, just to get rid of the extra hair that Wrigley left behind in the truck. It's terrible. So I'm gonna do a little time-lapse video just to see how the truck gets washed. I got my rubber boots on, I got my hair tied back, and I got a nice warm hoodie on because our weather is changing and it's significantly colder than it has been in months and months and months and months. So busted out the winter jacket this weekend. Yes, I did. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna give you a little time-lapse video of what the cleanup process is as far as outside goes. Washed and Brent got home. So, but as I look around it, as always, there's always the smudge marks that I missed. It drives me insane. So now we're going to tackle the front of the trailer because it's pretty nasty. So we're gonna tag team this one, and I've got the GoPro still running, so we'll catch a little bit of that too. Look who showed up today. We got some shirts. We got some long sleeve shirts.
And a couple of short sleeve shirts.
And they have our We Are Daring to Dream logo on it. So Brent was really wanting these, so I went ahead and ordered them. They were supposed to be for Christmas, but somebody got an email that I didn't know that he would get. So
Guilty. No
surprises. So anyways, got
my email was tied to her email, so I got notification that the order was on the way.
Our email, We Are Daring to Dream.
Yes.
So anyways, so if you think you might like some t-shirts, maybe leave comments in the below, and we will look into getting t-shirts with our logo out there. So we're just going to wrap up the things we've been talking about what we do before and after our trip, inside, outside, and basically I didn't really show you what I do when I get back from a trip on the inside, but basically it's just reverse of what I did before a trip.
With cleaning included.
With cleaning included, because the slides always seem to leave a little bit of debris here.
There's always a little bit, yes. So if you have done anything different or want to add anything to what we've done, maybe take it to the next level, or if you do something that we never mentioned, why don't you leave it in the comments below and let us know and share the wealth of your knowledge.
Alright, and on that note, please subscribe and
give us a thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications.
Bye.
Bye for now.
No.
Okay. Are we recording?
We are recording.
Hi, Mom. Look
I
what
could
just showed up.
I could actually put it down lower because there's quite a bit of,
Or just zoom it in a little bit, maybe.
well, there's this much roof.
Okay.
So if I pull it closer. We can delete that. Can you see the screen?
A little bit, yeah. Okay, with your right foot, can you pull that? No, yeah, okay, that's fine. That should work.
There's better.